Tech News Weekly is sponsored by GoDaddy. Get a .com domain name for only $2.49 by using offer code QUEENS at checkout.
Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. This is the show where we discuss everything happening in technology, all the big news, and boy, is there big news today. I'm Andrew Zarian. You can follow me on Twitter, at Andrew Zarian. Of course, I'm joined by John. How you doing, John?
Hey, Andrew. What's up?
At Suncast on Twitter. And again, coming in this week, I think 2 weeks in a row, Michael Manna, at Michael Manna on Twitter. How you doing, Michael?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Let's take a look at the viewer and download stuff to see how successful my 2-week run on Tech News Weekly is.
You have a 2-week run?
Obviously, it's my fault, so I don't want that kind of responsibility.
Listen, maybe Colm is drawing in ratings. I don't know.
Don't give him any ideas. Good. You want to correct that monster? Go ahead.
No.
You would say no. You think Michael's a bigger draw than Colm is on the show?
Absolutely.
So I guess you have a fan there, Michael.
Because Michael doesn't talk about Dota constantly.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
To his defense, he hasn't brought up Dota in about 3 or 4 episodes. So, but I think we're due. And we're supposed to do a tutorial video. As a matter of fact, he's going to teach me how to play Dota on the Mac. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I don't know.
Michael, are you I know you play like console games, but are you a big PC gamer?
No. I wish I was, because Steam is so much more affordable. And I do have a Retina MacBook Pro, so I have the power to do it. I just really do like sitting on the couch with a controller and playing a console game. And I know Big Picture enables that, but it's a little clunkier than just getting a disc and throwing it in or downloading it with the upcoming systems.
We have a lot of tech news to get to, but before we do that, I want to talk about our sponsor. And that, of course, is GoDaddy. GoDaddy.com has a phenomenal deal for our audience and a lot of the shows on GFQ. If you're a GFQ viewer, you've been hearing about these great deals we've been offering. GoDaddy's offering a $2.49 domain name for .com domain name. $2.49 only for the domain name if you use offer code QUEENS at checkout when you go to GoDaddy.com. And I like to look at domain names as 21st century real estate. And I've been saying that for the last couple of weeks, and I said it again last week. My wife sold a website for a couple $1,000, and because it was a GoDaddy site, they were able to kind of do the brokering of the deal. Another thing that I found that was really interesting in the GoDaddy, interface, we were doing some cleanup with the domain names. John and I were today, and I found this little appraisal area, and I had gotten appraisals for my websites, and I never checked. Like, I did it, and I never checked after that, and I was pleasantly surprised by a couple of my sites are worth a couple grand because I have some good domain names. So if you ever wondered how much your website is worth, how much your domain name is valued at, not necessarily the content, but just the name. It was interesting to see that. $2.49 domain names, .com domain names by going to GoDaddy.com and using offer code QUEENS at checkout, or you could click on the GoDaddy link right next to the video if you're watching live. I want to thank GoDaddy for supporting Tech News Weekly. So, John, big story. Everybody's going crazy this morning. We all woke up to the news that Steve Ballmer is stepping down within the year. He has a 12-month exit strategy plan put in place. There's been a committee put together to kind of find his replacement. This is part of Microsoft's major restructuring that we saw happen in July. We got wind that people are leaving. Some people are coming. In January, they were doing a major thing where they were shifting the company, rather than it being so split up into different divisions, it was going to be one united Microsoft. John, what do you make of this? Do you think this is going to be positive for them? Because whoever the CEO is now will be the first Microsoft CEO in this post-PC world.
Yeah.
So their strategy is going to be totally different than what Ballmer and Bill Gates have done over the last 30 years.
I think for the immediate future right now, this is great news. Stocks went up like 8% on the news. So I think right now people are very positive about this. In a way, I think they needed change, especially after recent failures with Windows RT. That was just, and Windows Phone 8 really hasn't gained the traction that I think it needed to. So in a way, I think recently they just, in a way, the perspective of Windows and Microsoft right now is not very good. The outlook is not very good. Windows 8 is not doing as good as they hoped. Windows Phone 8 is not doing as good as they hoped. And the Surface RT tablet is an utter failure. And the Pro tablet is not doing a whole lot better either. So currently, they're just not doing very good. So this news is very good news right now.
How about you, Michael? What do you make of this?
I think whoever comes in, Microsoft has had a reputation over the past few years of just changing. If you look back, it really is an ADD type of technology company. That's the closest analogy I can put it at. What the new CEO should do, I think, is take that singular approach, that focused approach that Apple had for a while and seems to also be losing. And when they came out with a Windows Phone, maybe just Nokia, and that's it, and Lumia, and had that one phone to concentrate on, maybe even that one tablet to concentrate on. They've already fragmented it right out of the gate and confused a lot of people. I mean, there's no, I don't even know. I think the newest OS on Windows Phone is Amber, but there was no press behind that. There's no changelog. There's really nothing that they do right, except, I'm going to say it as I always say, Xbox. And even that recently has been kind of like a PR disaster to go in line with all the other stuff that they've done.
Yeah.
Whoever comes in as CEO has a great opportunity to either make change or continue failure that we've seen over the past few years.
I mean, if you looked at the past, Steven Sinofsky was in place to kind of take over and lead Microsoft, but he got booted, in November. I think Kevin Johnson was another person that was being considered. They have a list of executives that could take his place, but
yeah, this is from a CNET article, by the way.
Yeah, Kevin Turner, you have Tony
very
Bates.
Interesting that, let me say this. I think a number of the names that they have on here are really very bad picks for replacement CEOs. I don't think anybody on this list is very good, especially the VP of Marketing, Tammy Reller. I'm sorry, but Microsoft's marketing has been absolute utter crap lately. So for somebody like who's been in charge of marketing to be in charge of the company overall, I think is a horrible move. And then you have Tony Bates. Tony Bates has said some really stupid stuff recently, so I don't think he makes a very good choice for our replacement CEO. Then you got Stephen Elop, Steven Sinofsky. Neither one of them are very good choices, I think,
by the way,
Microsoft either.
Elop is the CEO of Nokia, just for people to know. And Nokia has a business partnership with Microsoft. But this is going to be an interesting time for them because whoever comes in has to kind of figure out what the direction is going to be for them as far as... Listen, if I were to do it, I think the current structure that they're going in where they're simplifying stuff is a great idea. I would not be surprised if you start seeing Microsoft making more of their own hardware. Maybe they make their own PCs. Maybe they make their own laptops. I think that will be kind of the future of Microsoft in order to kind of do it right. We saw what happened with Windows 8 with the OEMs dropping the ball when it came to producing really good hardware. And that's an advantage that Apple has had. But, it's interesting because Microsoft, there's the enterprise portion, which does great, and then there's the consumer side, which kind of fell flat on its face recently. And then you have Xbox, which does amazing. I mean, if you look at it, Xbox is the only thing that's really been flawless.
Do you guys think that... Go ahead, Michael.
I was going to make a quick point. I'm looking through the list of people. What Microsoft needs more than anything is that Xbox type of change of culture. They need somebody who is a Steve Jobs, a Johnny Ive type creative person. COO Kevin Turner is a bean counter. I've read the thing about him not being popular at Microsoft employees. He's basically a numbers guy. They don't need that. They need a visionary. They definitely look from the list of this. If it's true, the closest one I could see is probably the Nokia CEO, which is unlikely. But I really do think they should go completely outside of their circle and bring in an outsider to shake everything up.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you guys, is if they need to bring somebody in that's outside rather than somebody that's inside.
Oh, yeah.
It's here's the issue with that. When someone is on the inside, they kind of already have the... Well, maybe... you know, they are giving it 12 months, so they may bring someone on from the outside and they just kind of just go based on that, and they train him for 12 months. You know, they kind of get him into the swing of things. But Ballmer was being groomed for years. You know, like this was put in place that Ballmer would take it. I think that they probably had Sinofsky as the number 2 for a long time, and they booted him, and that was it. Like now there was no really number 2.
I have a conspiracy theory.
Go ahead. I love these.
Once in a while. What about Bill Gates coming back?
Oh, I think he's so disconnected from everything. It's over for him.
But
Bill Gates has gotten really out there, though. Bill Gates, if you've listened to anything that he's said recently, I mean, he's still somewhat of a technological genius, but in other ways, he's very misguided in a lot of things that he thinks.
Maybe, but the original Bill Gates was very focused. The original Bill Gates actually almost put Apple out of business. So you're looking at a guy, at least for street cred in the technology world. There's a thing in the chat room. John Bland said that just by Steve Ballmer announcing this, the market cap jumped $18 billion. 18 billion or million, I'm not sure. It jumped. So imagine if Bill Gates came back just for the goodwill, for the nostalgia, for whatever other reason. You never know. It might buy them some time to be interim CEO until they pick another person.
But doesn't that make the company look like they're going backwards rather than moving forward with
They've been going backwards.
You think so? I mean, you know, here's the thing. Bill Gates left in 2000. Ballmer's been CEO since 2000, and a lot has changed. And whoever this next leader of this company will be has to bring them to a different forefront. It's a different.
That's
totally
exactly
different.
it. They need somebody that can take them to the new era, the era that we're now starting out in. And I don't think. I do think that Ballmer was the wrong person for this in a way, because I think he was there for so long that in a way he was kind of set in his ways and with not noticing what needs to be done. I mean, they kind of tried that, but in a way the execution failed. There was numerous parts of Microsoft that failed, not just Stephen Ballmer, not just Sinofsky, not just Windows 8, not just Windows Phone 8. There was a culmination of things here and there in basically every department that kind of failed, I think, and is misfiring. They need somebody to come in from the outside. And I just don't know if that's going to work or not, but I think that's the best choice that they have, is to bring somebody in from the outside that's going to be somewhat of a visionary, like you said, and bring them into more or less a Apple era, Steve Jobs-esque type of way of doing things.
I mean,
yeah, the thing with Microsoft too is one quick point before I forget, because I'm pretty old. One thing about Microsoft is Apple came back and got Steve Jobs and they made a comeback because they were going out of business. It was a last-ditch effort. They were desperate. They were out of money. They were in financial hardship. Microsoft is making so much passive income off of the licensing of Windows, at least from what I understand. They make money on the bits. They don't make money so much on the consoles with Xbox or even the PCs, but they make money on licensing and bits. They're never really going to be in that kind of financial trouble. I think that's why they've rested in a way on their laurels for so long and tried different stuff, but haven't thought this better work and we have to put everything we have into it or we're going to die. They just say, let's try this. Let's try this. Very Google-ish in a way, but eventually that's all going to add up and you will be in the trouble that Apple was in one point in their corporation.
I think the difference between Apple and Microsoft is that Microsoft has a gigantic, successful enterprise structure. You know, they have Azure, which generated $1 billion in revenue over the last 12 months. They have Office 365, which is currently generating about $1.5 billion a year. So they have very successful, and of course Xbox, they have very successful divisions, but for whatever reason, the consumer division has fallen flat on its face. And in that sense, you need someone that's a visionary. But to run a Microsoft corporation, I don't think you're going to have this Johnny Ive type character coming into power. You're going to have a numbers guy. You're going to have a corporate guy that knows how to make sure things stay the same.
That would be very disappointing if they did that.
Yeah.
What was that, John?
That's going to be very disappointing if that's the direction that they go. It's very funny to me if you look at what's going on in the technology industry today. You have a number of companies that, in a way, are anguishing in some way or transitioning. We have companies that are in transition. BlackBerry is in transition. Apple is in somewhat of a transition phase. And now you have Microsoft in a transition.
Well, Google too. I mean, but because we have reached a strange time in personal computing. It's not for years. It was just have a computer in front of you and type, and now it's totally different. And I think Microsoft's approach was let's kill two birds with one stone and have our mobile operating system and our desktop operating system in one, and have one unified look. And I like that concept that it's a unified look, but
it just wasn't executed.
It wasn't executed properly. No,
for sure,
and it was rushed.
Yeah, not only that, it's just, it's in a way we've almost kind of plateaued where everybody's like, well, what do we do now? We don't really know what to do now. And that's where we say that we need a visionary. All these companies need some sort of visionary, I think, because we're just, Apple is kind of trying to do that now with iOS 7. But I still think what it is when the iPhone came out, that was revolutionary in many ways, I think. Just their presentation, the way of doing things, the fact that it was just one phone to rule them all, and it was something that was really changing the way that we had smartphones. Whereas today, we have a changing landscape, but nobody seems to know where it's going or where it should go.
Yeah. I'd have nothing more to add to that, John. You said it perfectly.
It's a lot of confusion.
It is, and it's an exciting time, but it's also a confusing time because you don't, for someone like me that is I want the latest and the greatest, I have zero interest in Windows 8. And that's
it's
not
almost
good.
Like we're all kind of waiting for the next iPhone revolution type of deal.
Yeah, and in a weird way, and Michael, tell me if you think I'm wrong, I think that was a big mistake from Apple to condition the consumer to want this revolutionary product every year, because we did get that one year after another. A couple of years we got the iPhone, we got the iPhone 3G, we got the iPhone 4, we got the iPad, we got the iPod. So every year there was something, oh my God, this is amazing. We got the Air. And now we have reached this point where that revolutionary product will not happen. We're in maintenance phase now. We're just tweaking things and fixing things and adding a little more. And then that excitement is gone. And I think it's affected the entire PC world, entire computing world.
No, that excitement hasn't gone away with me. It really hasn't. I don't look at the iPhone and feel like I'm bored with it. I look at the iPhone and I still remember at a time where I had to carry a GPS on the road. I had to carry a cell phone. I had to carry a T-Mobile Sidekick for the data because the Singular at the time, not AT&T, the Singular did not have good data plans. T-Mobile had that $30 Sidekick plan. So I carried 3 devices right there, 3 different chargers. They didn't have the same charging port or any of the other stuff. So the iPhone represented to me a point of convergence that I never had before, besides being an iPod for the gym. And also now adding all the other stuff. Let's look at it this way. Microsoft made one mistake, 2 mistakes if you count it, but it's on the developer side. The apps not being there, not looking at the iPhone and saying, we need all these apps in the store from day one. And that's it. That's the end of it. Someone should have said, these are the apps we need, because that is the one Achilles heel of Windows Phone 8 and Windows Phone 7 before it. It's great. It's beautiful. I love using it. The camera on the 1020 is amazing. Yeah, my 5 or 6 top apps aren't even in there. Another point too, Bluetooth Low Energy, which Android is finally at least starting to catch up a little bit. The iPhone for 2 generations since the 4S has had Bluetooth Low Energy and enables stuff like my pick of the week, which is a little bit of a spoiler. The Mio Alpha strapless heart rate monitor watch has Bluetooth Smart built in, which is Bluetooth Low Energy, and I can use applications to track my heart rate, my calories burned, all sorts of other stuff. That kind of stuff really still makes the iPhone leaps and bounds ahead, not only of Android, but especially Windows Phone, which Windows Phone 8 still doesn't officially have any kind of Bluetooth Low Energy, which is amazing for something that you want to conserve battery life for those kind of devices. You're crippling yourself by not expanding it out and accessorizing the phone. This is the after sale market of Windows Phone 8 that they're losing out on.
Oh, I think those are totally things that they're missing out on. They had this mentality, well, we'll build the interface and the developers will come, but it wasn't enough for them to jump ship and start developing for Windows Phone. And
that's
I don't
almost
blame
the
'em.
same problem that BlackBerry had too.
Yeah. Well, BlackBerry had a lot of other issues on top of that, but yeah, same
Right.
exact thing. Developers didn't develop. I feel bad for what happened to them. But, I want to bring up another Windows thing, and then I want to talk about a lot of the other news that we have. Lenovo is bundling Sweet Labs Start Menu as a replacement in their App Store. So if you're, is this, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're buying a Windows Lenovo laptop, you're getting the Start Menu.
Yeah, from Pokey. It's called Pokey or Pocky, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. I know we've talked about this. This was actually one of my picks of the week a few weeks ago.
Pokey.
Yeah.
I met the developer. I met the guy who made it.
It's a very cool product. I
Yeah.
very much like it. I think it's very interesting that Lenovo is doing this, and in some ways is flying in the face of Microsoft not wanting to put in a start menu and almost being forced into admitting that they were wrong on this.
Yeah, here is the. I have a picture here. When I went to Best Buy last week, and almost every laptop in Best Buy had a start menu replacement. Almost every single laptop. There was not one that I saw that did not have some third-party start menu. So it seems like people want this and they're adding it on. I think that's pretty cool. Most people want the start button is there, everything is there. You're fine. You have all your apps.
Well, what this really does say is that the Metro interface is not what people want on a laptop. That's what it says to me.
Michael, you don't like Windows 8 at all, right?
No, I really don't. I mean, it's passable with a touchscreen. I said it on last week's episode. This operating system in the Metro interface form will never fly without it. And that's why there's start menus or start buttons on the Best Buy laptops, because not all of them are touchscreen. You need a touchscreen for this. This is basically this is like a Surface with a keyboard. That's all Windows 8 should be. I believe that if they were really going to stick to that, they should have just never brought back the start. That's another thing. It's a reversal. All these reversals by Microsoft, not only on the Xbox, but a lot with this Windows 8. And now we're going to bring back 8.1. And that kind of confuses the general public who says, well, wait a minute. Now I have to relearn this. Now I have to find the start button. To the general consumer, the older people that probably use Windows or even younger people, they might just not be patient enough with all these changes and say, well, I'm just going to go back to my Mac or go to my iPhone or my iPad instead of the Surface because they keep changing everything. And I don't know what to expect.
Let me ask you guys this. If I go and I buy, I'm an average user. I go and I buy a laptop. It has Windows 8. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Where do I go now? What do I do?
You get a Mac and you download Parallels and you put Windows 8 on that. And you have two computers in one.
Okay.
I don't know why people don't do that, Andrew. Unless you're going to buy a tower and put video cards and make it a gaming PC. The best gaming laptop out there is a 15-inch Retina MacBook Pro. The best gaming desktop will be a Mac Pro when it finally gets released, and even some iMacs that are out now. Why
But I
would
mean,
you not
like,
do
what-
it?
but what
You
are the
get two for
average-
one deal.
No, forget about the gaming, though. I'm just an average user. I'm going to go buy a laptop. I get Windows 8, and I hate it. I mean, it's awful. I don't like it at all. What is my option at this point? The only option I could see is going and buying a Mac.
Buy a Mac or find
Or
a way
Mac.
to downgrade to Windows 7.
Downgrade. Okay, fine. You downgrade to Windows 7, but now you're talking about an operating system that's 2 versions behind. How about in a year from now? And when I still hate Windows 8? How about in a year and a half? Or how about in 2 years? My whole thing is you've always had an option before. You didn't like Vista, you went to XP, and it was fine. Or and you knew that it was going to get better. But now I think a lot of people don't want this operating system, and I don't think they have an option. I think it's almost like, well, you're kind of screwed. You're forced to use it, so here you go. Nobody.
Well,
I think a lot of it too is that the two interfaces don't mesh well together. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're trying to use that on a laptop or a desktop, it's a touch interface that's really designed for a tablet or a smartphone, and it really, in my opinion, doesn't work as well on a desktop or a laptop. You can get by. There's a lot of people, and I know this for a fact from watching What the Tech and everybody talking in the chat room. People love Windows 8, and they hate me whenever I say I don't like Windows 8. They don't understand why I don't like it. They say, "Oh, you can just get used to it." You don't want to get used to it. Oh, you just haven't used it long enough. Whatever.
Yeah.
So I've been in the chat room, which averages anywhere from 135 to 200 people, and there's over 6 billion people in the world. So those people are probably the only people that like Windows 8. Mike Phillips in the chat room says he hates Macs, but look at it this way. I always have issues. I always have tech issues. I always need to send stuff off to get replaced or repaired or anything like that. It's just a curse I have, that 3% curse. I just knew early on by buying the Mac that even if say I get a refurbished MacBook Air for $750, I get Apple Care for 3 years. It's only a little bit more expensive by a few $100. Over the course of my ownership, though, with that Apple Care, anytime I have a problem, I go to the Genius Bar, get stuff replaced, get stuff repaired, whatever I need. It's very convenient. It's peace of mind when I buy it. And also a guarantee for 3 years that my machine's still going to run pretty well on Mac and even some form of Windows with Parallels or Crossover or whatever you use for that 3 years. When you buy a $300 Lenovo laptop or whatever the cheaper ones are, the Acers or anything like that, you're buying a $300 laptop. And it's almost disposable at this point. And I don't think that's an option. I think I'd rather buy one $750 MacBook Air and $250 Apple Care, $1,000, than spend the next 3 or 4 years buying a new $300 laptop every year. And having problems.
One thing, Apple is in a different price range. Obviously, when you can't compare the $300 and the $500 laptop to a MacBook Air, but I have used plenty $1,000 PCs. And the experience I have gotten on these PCs is not at the same level as Apple. I'm not saying all of them, but I'll give you a perfect example. My wife's cousin has a Toshiba. She's paid, I think, like $1,000 for the thing, $1,200 for the thing, has touchscreen, whatever. I can't use the trackpad on that thing. The keyboard is awful. So it's not that great. When you're comparing the $1,000 price range, they're still not great. It's all over the place. I don't know. I think they have a big uphill battle. Huge uphill battle. Let's go into something else. Let's go into gaming. I know that's your specialty, Michael. PlayStation 4 hitting the shelves November 15th in the U.S. for $399, November 29th in Europe and Latin America. Are you pre-ordered?
No, not yet. Not either system at all.
Neither one. Nope. So are you going to go and wait online, or are you just going to wait till...
No, those days ended with the iPhone 3GS. That's over.
I would like to see Michael Mann just standing online with 40 people.
I'm going to use some foul language.
Go ahead.
I tried 1 year for T4 show to interview people in the line and say, oh, we're going to get some content. And somebody was nasty with me, so I was like, fuck you, you fat whore, like right to her face. I was like, I should air that interview. That'll be great.
Did people recognize you? Were they like,
No, nobody recognized me. Nobody cared.
No.
But this PlayStation 4 is interesting because they have a date of November 15th. And according to you and Paul, what the tech, isn't the Xbox One supposed to be released November 5th? Was that the date that Paul had said? Speculating.
I said that date.
So what do you think now? I thought Sony would wait till I guess Xbox was waiting too.
I believe you're gonna
announce the first.
Yeah, I believe you're gonna get it a week prior to the PlayStation. From what I know, I find it interesting that they're both going to be Friday releases. Because this is a Friday release. November 15th is a Friday. November 5th is the day that all the PlayStation, all the Xbox One games are coming out. So I think the games are coming out on the 5th, and the device is coming out on the 8th. That's my guess. I don't know if that 1 week advantage is going to mean anything, though.
Well, why would you release the games before the system?
I don't know, but they've already You know why? I guess they're trying to determine in a weird way what the. I guess it's to kind of separate the confusion on that day. It's going to be a total madness in these stores, and it's giving the stores some couple days to kind of regroup. People go in, they buy the game, and other people don't. Okay,
so here's the Wii U nightmare scenario. I bought 3 games. I put the first game in. Update. I put the second game in. Another update. Put the third, and it's going to happen. There's going to be updates on that disc or on the system to play those games. they're not going to be totally prepared. So, right there, every time I go to play a game, go to play Madden, Call of Duty, or whatever comes out, I have to throw in that update. And my guess is it's not going to be as a small update because it's a brand new system. It's next gen. It's a brand new game. There's going to be some stuff involved.
What are going to be? Do you know what the big titles are going to be for the release?
Madden, Call of Duty, I think.
But is it a port to it, or is it for the Xbox One?
I don't know. I do know that PS4, we talked about it on T4 show. Sony came out. Microsoft has not come out with this. Sony came out with news saying, hey, if you buy, say, Call of Duty, I think is coming out for the PS3 previous or whatever game that's going to be on the next gen on the PS4, you're going to get a greatly reduced price on the digital download for that game if you buy the PS. So they already said, hey, you go ahead and buy the PS3 version, and then when the PS4 version comes out, you can download it digitally, not even have a disc, and it's going to be a much cheaper price for that next gen one. Not too bad. I don't know what games exactly, but I think Call of Duty is one of them.
I'm pre-ordered for both, and I don't know if I'm going to get both. I probably will, but I'm thinking about it. It's going to be a very expensive November for me.
What about Suncast?
Suncast, how about you?
I didn't pre-order either one of them.
Because he doesn't care about them. You hate gaming, huh? You hate
he doesn't like anything. He said he didn't like anything on the show yesterday.
Oh, that is true.
I don't necessarily hate gaming. It's just not something that I'm into. I suck at gaming, so I mean, I'm serious. I completely stink at gaming. So after like 30 seconds of playing out, I'm just like, yeah, okay, I suck at this.
Do you like RoboCop? You're from Detroit. You like RoboCop?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we found something. Thank God. Something. He likes something. Mark it off. What's the timestamp on that?
3:32 p.m. East on the 23rd, and we found.
So Cass finally likes something.
I like RoboCop. That's the name of the title.
There you go.
Microsoft says that the Xbox One will never sell without a Kinect. Now they're back. Microsoft has already backpedaled on the requirements on the next generation Xbox One console, requiring Kinect motion control to be plugged in at all times. However, now they're saying that it's mandatory. Here's the thing: why are people making such a big deal out of this?
Because it adds so much more cost to the console that people don't want to pay.
It's $100.
Yeah, it's $100 more just for that. I can completely understand that.
You know what? This was my point. I said this when the whole controversy over the price happened. Oh my God, it's $4.99. It should be $3.99. If you don't have that extra $100, you should not be spending the $3.99. That's how I see this. You're complaining over $100 that you're getting something. Like it's not like you're not getting it. You're getting something.
Well, how many people use the current Kinect? How useful is it?
Oh, I don't have one.
That's the $100. Why am I spending $100 on that when this one just completely sucks? It's still in my closet. Colm gave it to me because it was so awful, and that guy loved it. He didn't even love that at first. He hated it. So that's how bad it was. Colm didn't even like it for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but it was a first-gen device. I mean,
Yeah, but that's what I mean. This is going to be a second-gen. Who knows if they're going to come out with an enhanced Kinect. I don't personally like the privacy stuff. I don't like the fact that the thing is always on. It's always listening. Even though they say you can shut it off, I just don't like having it. I don't see a use for it. I'm very much still I don't see gestures really going that far with gaming yet. I really am still a controller person. That's why I don't play PC games with the keyboard and the mouse. I'm a controller person. So, hey, it's me. I like the choice. Does that mean that they're not? See, this is what are they going to do? They're going to sell it without it, but they're trying to tell people you're stupid for not getting it. Is that the statement?
I don't. It's going to require it.
They're saying it. Well, they're saying now we're going to say it's not required, but in this statement, they're basically saying it is required because the system won't work properly without the Kinect. That's the hint that they're giving with this, at least from what I could read the quote. They are not separate systems.
Yeah, Xbox One is Kinect. They're not separate. Xbox One has chips, has memory, has Blu-ray, and it has Kinect. That's their I guess I think Phil. Who said it?
It's
Phil
Microsoft
Harrison.
yet again trying to force you into some sort of environment that you don't necessarily give a crap about.
You know, it's really fascinating right now. You know, the time that we're in. And I said this on What the Tech, where we have so many of these products coming out at the same time. I can't remember it ever being this saturated, where we have the iPhone coming out, the iPad, possibly new MacBooks, PlayStation, Xbox, Windows 8.1, OS 10, Mavericks. We have a lot of stuff coming out. And I was wondering this, and I'll ask both of you. Do you think that's going to affect how many people are buying what? Because before, if you looked at, like, Xbox came out one year, so Sony came out another. This thing came out that year. It's never been around the same time, you know? It's all fourth quarter products. Do you think it's going to affect them in the long run where, you know, Microsoft would have sold 20 million, but they sold only 10?
I think it'll affect Microsoft more than Sony. Sony's marketing and PR has been very focused and very simplistic. It's been everything that you expect it to be. We know what we're going to get with Sony, with the PS4, $399, what's included, what they have. I still say one of my favorite videos is that used game tutorial from Sony, because Microsoft came out with this laid out DRM scheme for used games, which I, to this day, Andrew and Sunkist, still do not understand. I can't disseminate one thing from the other, how it would have worked if it came to fruition. Sony put it together, a 20-second video of a guy passing another guy a game, and he says, thank you. That, to me, is brilliant. And I'm saying to myself, okay, Sony has the Blu-ray player. I know Microsoft has it. Sony has a game recorder with Twitch, which I use Twitch more than Ustream. I think that's what Microsoft has. So the in-game recorder, the streamer, it really is, to me, what I'm leaning towards. And also I play MLB The Show, which is a PlayStation exclusive. I'm sure God of War is coming out. And every sports title I play is out on both systems. So it's an easy choice for me to know what I'm getting for $100 less with the Sony product.
Yeah, but how about the actual the interface? I mean, that's something that Sony dropped the ball on with the PlayStation 3. They were not able to create software. They were not able to create an ecosystem that thrived.
That's the one thing that scares me. What's the interface going to look like? How's that going to affect me? Because the Metro interface may not work on a Windows 8 laptop with no touchscreen. It may not work even great on one with the touchscreen. But one thing's for sure, the Metro interface, which originated on the Xbox 360, is perfect. It's an interface I understand, works incredibly well. The apps run well. I like the way Netflix is integrated with it, with the play next episode automatically. You're right. I might look at all these things hardware-wise or roadmap-wise with the company and just say, well, I don't care. I like the user experience. That's why, of course, I use this. Exactly. You're right. That's a great point. User interface, Sony may need to rethink what they're going to do with that.
I want to take a little break before I go into more stories. I want to talk about the iPhone. We're getting closer and closer to this big unveiling for the iPhone C and the iPhone 5S, iPhone 5C and iPhone 5S. But before we do, it's not a live read. I just want to remind everybody we have a little Amazon thing. We have an Amazon affiliate program where we get a little credit every time you guys go on Amazon.com and you buy something. So if you're watching live, we have a little Amazon button on the side. You could click there, or you could follow it in the show notes. But I've also posted in the chat room just a little tag at the end of the Amazon link where when you shop, we get, I think, like 4 or 5% of the sale, make a couple bucks. And it helps GFQ do their upgrades. It helps us, buy stuff for the studio. If we need to send a microphone to someone, if we need to send a camera to someone. So I just wanted to give you guys that little info. You could help us out by using our Amazon link. You don't even have to give me anything. Just use our Amazon link. Let's talk about the iPhone for a second. I am curious on how they're going to do this. Now, you have the iPhone 5C, which is going to be the entry-level iPhone. It's going to replace the iPhone 5. But the iPhone 4S will be around? It's getting weird, John.
Yeah. There's a couple of analysts out there saying that the iPhone 5C is actually going to be a mid-range device and will actually replace the current iPhone 5. So they're, in a way, it sounds like they're almost kind of doing the same thing that they did with the iPad 3 when the iPad 4 came out, where the iPad 4 came out and then they no longer sold the iPad 3. So it sounds like they're kind of doing a similar deal there, where when the iPhone 5C comes out, they're no longer going to sell the iPhone 5. In a way, it does kind of make sense, but at the same time, it's why would they go that route? I mean, it's hard to understand exactly their reasoning for this. I can see it on one hand, but I can see it on a different hand as well.
I mean, I guess the iPhone 4S will be the free model, right? And then you're going to have the 5C, which will be, I guess, $100.
I guess part of this is the fact that how are they going to price all this stuff? They're in a way going to have to end up removing a line in order to fit it into their pricing line. I think.
I mean,
why
that's
not? What it is to fit it with the pricing lines. You know, the every $50 or $100 mark to be able to fit these two new lines in there.
But why not have the 5C and the 5S? Why not do it that way?
Well, in a way, if the specs come out to be about the same, it does make sense that it would kind of replace the 5. Because they're saying it's going to have an 8-megapixel camera in it. It's going to be very similar to the 5. The only difference is that it's going to be more plastic in colors.
Okay, so all you're doing is you're rather than keeping the 5 on the market and selling it for less, you're going to have a cheaper model replace it. The 5S will be the premium model, and then the 4S is still going to be selling a phone that's 2 years old.
Yeah,
I don't know, Michael. What do you think they should keep the 4S on the market?
Well, the 4S is still a very powerful phone, has a great camera. It's a smaller screen, but I was on a 4S for well over my 2-year commitment with AT&T before I got a great deal on the 5. You know, I know it's kind of odd that I went to the end of the cycle and didn't wait for the 5S, but the 5 does everything I need. The thing with the 5C and the 5S, this is a confusing point, and it's kind of funny. We talk about Android this way. We just talked about Windows Phone. But Apple's sort of getting that fragmentation and confusing the markets too. If us as tech analysts and tech enthusiasts can't really filter out the information and figure out what makes the consumers think that they can, you're looking at pricing now. What I heard, $300 to $400 for the 5C, the lower cost iPhone, out of contract. Now, to me, that still sounds pretty damn expensive because people usually don't buy out of contract phones. Only guys like us really do that.
But Michael, $399. iPhone 5C out of contract. You're buying that?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I mean, me maybe, but when people buy, the reason why there are cell phone contracts are because of the subsidized pricing. The reason there is T-Mobile Jump, AT&T Next, Verizon Edge is because people cannot afford to even lay out sometimes $200 for a phone under contract. Does that make sense?
No, it does. I think if
that's
you're going to,
I mean, so you tell me to give you $400, you may hit the Straight Talk market or a Simple Mobile market or even the unlocked European market or other things, but you're not hitting the person walking into the AT&T store, into the T-Mobile store, into the Verizon store. They're going to say, $400. Why don't I just buy the iPhone 5S for $199 with a contract?
They're also, which wasn't in the notes, but they've added a gold champagne colored iPhone now to the mix. So you have the silver, the black, and the gold champagne to the premium. And you know what? This is a great... People think this is really stupid. And they're like, why would you do this? Why would you do this? I think this is actually... No, it's not. You know why? They are separating themselves and saying this is the premium model. Look at the finish on this. Look, we have a gold model. We have silver. I'm sure they're going to call it platinum, platinum. And then they have the matte black. Like, they are separating themselves, and they're separating these two phones into here's the premium phone and here is the everyday phone.
I don't buy that at all.
Oh, I'm telling there are going to be people waiting online to buy the stupid champagne-colored iPhone. I'm telling you, they're going to do it.
So what are they going to offer for premium? And are they going to give the 128 gig option with this to make it justify the $100 to $200 they're probably going to charge extra? Or are they just going to say, I don't know, it's gold. There you go. Are they going to be doing any golden shower commercials? That's my question.
I need like a rim shot at this point.
Yeah.
And then here's the plastic.
What's the first thing you thought about?
Here's the plastic one.
I like the colors.
I do too. I do
Reminds
too.
me of an iPod.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't look awful. Like when you're looking at this, you're saying, it's a lower end iPhone, but I could kind of justify if that's what I want to get. If I want to get it looking like that, I could justify buying it. But a lot of people put cases on their phones anyway, so does it matter?
Well, with this one, I remember you had an original MacBook. I don't know if Suncast did. I had an original MacBook, and I found myself liking that and still liking that sometimes more than my metal MacBook Pro that I have here, because that polyurethane, if it's made of the same material as the original MacBooks, you don't have to worry about it because it'll scratch or it'll do whatever, and it really just holds its integrity, and it's very durable. And the other thing I say, I don't know why I still think of this. Imagine if Apple lets you maybe, and this is another conspiracy theory, maybe let you remove the cover and change the colors.
If they do that, they're selling. I think that's a win for them. The kids love to change it. Oh, huge!
They'll buy every color.
Yeah, you'll buy. Yeah, they sell the color. They can sell it for $100
to the case manufacturers out there.
Well, who cares? Apple doesn't care about them.
Oh, they don't care. They take technology from jailbreaking apps and just incorporate it into the OS and kill those apps off.
Yeah.
Do it
that
all
doesn't
the time.
bother me.
That's where the command center came from. The SB settings, I think, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I still personally, I would probably buy the higher end iPhone, but I think this is going to be
it in gold.
Maybe I would, and I would get a grill. I get a grill. I get a big gold chain. I could get some rims.
Rappers, strippers, and shady people in New York City. So
the rappers and the strippers are going to buy.
The rappers and strippers and the hobos. All those people are going to. They all hang out in the same place.
That's hysterical.
I'll be seeing every one of those categories on Saturday night, by the way, and some more.
Oh yeah, you're in New York City on Saturday.
I'll be in Staten Island.
That's a wonderful place. Staten Island is a wonderful, wonderful place.
I'll be there. You said you're going.
I'm attempting to get my wife to go with me.
Thinking about it.
No, I want to go, but I just need the car, so my wife has to come with me, or she has to give me the car.
Just send Joe from Staten Island in your place.
Oh, that'll be awful.
Just tell her I'm there.
I did tell her you're there. I think that's why she'd go. She doesn't want to go to any wrestling stuff, but I think she'd go to see you.
That's good.
Talking about,
it's training hard when I meet her.
I don't know how I'm going to segue into this, but Ben Affleck is the new Batman.
The show's over.
What do you think of that?
I don't have anything to say.
You don't care. You don't care for Ben Affleck.
No, you ask Suncast. I have to go get something real quick. You ask Suncast. I'll be right back.
All right, John.
What is he gonna go get? This is gonna be interesting, I guess. This is funny because this news broke last night that Ben Affleck is gonna be playing Batman in the new Man of Steel 2 movie.
Okay, so it's not necessarily he's not playing Batman in the Batman franchise. He's playing Batman in the Superman franchise.
Yes.
Okay.
But there's a lot of people that just the outrage over this is hilarious. And in some ways, I do agree with it. I think Ben Affleck is not the greatest choice for Batman. In a way, I'd rather see them go with somebody unknown rather than Ben Affleck, because in a way, here's what boggles my mind is the fact that Ben Affleck has already played a superhero, Daredevil. So now he's going to also be Batman.
Yeah.
So,
well,
in my opinion, that's the problem that I have with Ben Affleck playing Batman for the most part.
That he was Daredevil before.
Yeah.
Do you not like Daredevil?
It was an all right movie.
Yeah.
It's just that why he was already established as a superhero character, but now he's going to play some other character, and it's just
listen. I don't.
No,
I mean, when
right.
when you heard that Christian Bale,
Batman.
When you heard Christian Bale was Batman, did you automatically think now that's a good Batman? Forget about Michael Keaton. Forget about Michael Keaton.
Honestly,
forget about Val Kilmer. This is Batman.
And I know a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but I like the older Batman movies and I like the newer ones.
If you tell me you like the one with Mr. Freeze,
I like it better than today's.
Oh my god!
And I told you, I knew people are going to hate me for it, but to me, it was. I like those movies better than I like The Dark Knight Rises.
Michael,
I'm sorry.
Michael.
Well, I will agree that Batman and Batman Returns, Michael Keaton was a very underrated Batman. He's a very good Batman. I liked those two movies a lot. They're a little campy here and there, but the darkness and the setting of it was really good. I will say that if you're not satisfied with the choice for Ben Affleck, there's a great trilogy out there that you can watch that I watch on a daily basis called the Dark Knight trilogy. I agree with Suncast at some point about Dark Knight Rises, how it was all over the place, but the first two, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, you cannot get two better superhero movies in history than those. They're amazing. Christian Bale, I knew Christian Bale would make a great Batman. I had watched the movie before, then I watched it again after the announcement. The movie Equilibrium is an unbelievable sleeper of a movie. And Christian Bale, from what I heard rumor-wise, people saw him in that role, and that's when they said he could be the next Batman in the Nolan series. And that part, the way he played it, the way the action was, the way the fight scenes, if you can, go to Netflix. That's going to be my pick of the week, by the way, next week on T4 Show. Equilibrium. Check it out on Netflix right now. An amazing movie if you're into any kind of superhero type, kung fu, karate, and you know, shoot 'em up movies. Excellent movie. But Ben Affleck being chosen as Batman, they're doing the analogy like they did with Heath Ledger as the Joker. But like Suncast said, Ben Affleck played Daredevil, and he's a very, I don't care what people say, he's a one-dimensional actor. He plays, it's like George Clooney. George Clooney plays George Clooney playing the guy from Ocean's 11, 12, 13, the guy from Syriana. He plays George Clooney in all the Batman. It's just George Clooney. It's not Bruce Wayne. They should have went with a complete unknown or threw like 20 or 30 million at Bale, and they would have made their money.
How about
back.
you? How about you could play Batman? You got the voice going.
I would love to do that. No, I mean,
you got the Batman voice. You don't even have to try.
My hope and my dream is to voice over cartoons one day in video games, and if I can get the Batman voice, that would be excellent. As far as acting, that's another thing too. Bruce Wayne was 8 years older in Dark Knight Rises, so they said, "Oh, we picked Ben Affleck because he can play an older guy because he's 41 years old."
Wait a minute, Bruce Wayne.
Christian Bale's already 8 years older, and then this is set even further ahead than that.
Is this okay? No, wait a minute. This Batman is set. The new one coming out is going to be set how far after Dark Knight? Technically,
I don't know. Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2. Batman's like 60 years old, or in his 50s or 60s. That's the one. That's excellent too. If you go and get that, actually Peter Weller from RoboCop, Suncast likes that. From RoboCop and also from Star Trek Into Darkness. He voices over the voice of Batman, which isn't as good as Peter Conroy, but that is how old he is when he fights Superman. I think we're going to get a prequel to that. And here's a side note. I heard the guy from Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston, is going to, that's not what he's going to look like in the movie. All right. Bryan Cranston is supposedly slated to play Lex Luthor, or there's rumors that he might be cast as Lex Luthor.
That would not be bad.
No, that would be good. That would be really good. Let's hope he doesn't do another real estate scam like in all the other movies. It's always a real estate scam. It's not taking over the world. He just wants to own some land or create it.
Poor guy just wants to own land. That's it. That's all he wants. Let's go on our picks of the weeks, guys. This is the part where we pick a product. That's the wrong one. There you go. This one. There you go. This is the point where we talk about products, websites, hardware, software, something that we liked, and we feature for you guys. John, what's your pick?
It's my agent trying to get a part.
John, what's your pick
of the week? My pick of the week is a application for the iPhone. It's called Commercial Break. You can go to commercialbreak.com. And I'll show it to you on my handy camera that I have set up here. It's pretty cool. What it does is that you set it up and you can be notified almost instantly when your TV show comes back from a break. This is kind of pretty cool. So once you set up your location here, you can type in a city or a zip code, or you can actually get it from GPS. It'll show you what channels are available that you can select to be notified when the show that you're watching comes back. So you got TBS, CNN, ESPN, TNT. You don't have a whole lot of choices here, but it is pretty cool in the way that it works. So if you want to say you're watching Friends on TBS, you select that, hit start. So now when it comes back from a commercial break, it'll have a push notification right to your phone almost instantly. You might miss maybe 3-4 seconds right after it comes back. For but for the most part, it's pretty cool the way that this works. Right now, it's only for the iPhone, but they also have a Android version coming out soon. It's completely free. You can check it out at commercialbreak.com.
Very cool. And Michael, you have it on T4 Show. You posted that.
Yeah, I did that the day it came out. I downloaded it, and Suncast is right. It's really good. It works well. Not too many stations right now, but there was only 2 or 3 the day it came out, and I think it has more now. You said CNN and a few others.
There's about 8, 9, or 10 different ones, and it's pretty cool. Like I said, you might miss maybe the first few seconds right when it comes back, but for the most part, it's pretty dead on.
Very cool.
I didn't find any lag. I was really surprised. I went to the kitchen, and it notified me, and when I looked over, it was the first take was back on ESPN. It was pretty quick.
Very, very cool. I'm gonna go next. I always go last. I'm gonna go next. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been doing some upgrades here. We've been changing the way that we route video in the studio. And a couple of months ago, I purchased a Blackmagic Intensity Shuttle. I've been using the Intensity Pro for a long time. And I purchased the Blackmagic Intensity Shuttle. And I hadn't used it because I had to do some firmware updates to my USB 3 drivers. And I started using it about a week ago. And this thing is amazing. I'm very impressed by it. It's really well done. If we use like 4 Intensity Pros right now, PCIe cards, but the reason why I got the shuttle is because I'm out of PCIe slots, and I don't want to upgrade my motherboard. I don't want to spend a couple $100 doing that because I'm going to probably end up changing the CPU. It's going to be a whole thing. So I bought this thinking, you know what? If it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. And initially, I was a little disappointed because I couldn't get it to work with my USB 3 card, whatever I have in this. And it was causing a blue screen to happen. Then I actually spent time and I read the instructions that came with this thing. And they said, hey, listen, you got to upgrade the firmware on this card. You upgraded the firmware on the USB 3 on your computer, on your motherboard. And after that, it's been perfect. They also have a Thunderbolt version, the Intensity Extreme, which is pretty much the same thing. But you got the Shuttle, the Pro, and the Extreme. It's available via Blackmagic. I know, John, you've been playing around with it too, and you like it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Michael, do you have the Extreme?
I do have the Extreme. I was just about to get it real quick. It hasn't served any purposes for me lately because I was using it for video games. But ever since I get the Game Capture HD from Elgato, I haven't needed it. I don't have the upgraded cameras with HDMI like you guys have. So I paid almost $300 for it, and it worked great for what it was. I mean, if you want to work out a trade of any sort, if we have technology that the other wants, I'd be more than willing to send it to you.
So
maybe don't bring it to Staten Island.
Yeah, maybe you could bring it to Staten Island with you. It may never leave Staten Island though. I'm sorry, something might happen over there. So my pick of the week is the Intensity Pro, the Shuttle, and the Extreme. The Intensity line from Blackmagic. And you know, for what they're pretty inexpensive. For $199, you could get a really, really awesome capture card. There's a couple other ones on the market, but for what it is, it's phenomenal. It's a great, great capture card, and made by a great company. So that's my pick of the week. Michael, what's your pick?
My pick of the week, it's a tentative pick of the week, and I'll have an update next week if I'm back for a third week. That's a lot of weeks in one sentence, but my pick is the Mio Alpha. It is a strapless. I have to give away the price last. It's a strapless heart rate monitor watch, and by strapless, I don't think in the sexual term. It's a strap that goes around your chest usually when you use a heart rate monitor. But the problem is it's cumbersome. It slides around, and it's not accurate all the time because of the movement of the strap. It doesn't stay as tight as it should after the first hour or so of working out. So this was a Kickstarter project, but it's available in the Apple Store right now for $199.95. And I figured I'd give it a try. You don't need the strap. The only thing that I know is that it has to be pretty tight on your wrist because what it does is it doesn't go off of the strap. So it has these little LED lights, which you can see right here at the bottom, which pulsate and get the blood flow back and forth and get a reading off your heart rate. I mean, allegedly, we're going to see what happens with it. But, for $200, it may be worth it. It doesn't do much else but your heart rate. But it does incorporate, like I said earlier in the show, it has Bluetooth Low Energy, so you can use it with Map My Ride. You can use it with Map My Run. You can use it with the Wahoo Fitness app, I think. Also DigiFit, anything that uses a conduit with the app on the iPhone 4S or 5 with Bluetooth, low energy, this will work with it. But just as a heart rate monitor, if it works like that and it gives me accurate heart rate feedback, and I stay in my zone, it's worth it just for that, in my opinion. So it's the Mio Alpha strapless continuous heart rate monitor watch.
Have you used it yet?
No, it's still in the box.
Oh, still in the box.
It's a tentative pick of the week. I've been eyeing it up, and there's people say there's always going to be people that complain about it, but for the most part, people say the heart rate. And Mio had answered me on Twitter, which is a huge bonus for me because I want the communication with the company in case, as always, if something goes wrong or if I have an issue with it. And I got 2 weeks to take it back to the Apple Store if it doesn't satisfy me, but I hope it does because I hate that chest strap. Have you ever used a heart rate monitor?
I have. Jess uses it when she works out, and she absolutely hates it.
Oh, girls, it's worse because you have to put it on the sports bra, and it's even tighter for them. At least for them, though, it doesn't slip around. For me, it always, it's always like every 5 minutes I'm getting check wear link. And I don't know if you know it, Suncast, but when you're doing something like DDP yoga, because that's exactly what I'm going to use this for when I teach DDP yoga classes, you have to be within a certain heart rate to really efficiently burn fat. You have to be in a zone like between 140, 160 for me. And that means, you can do less work and burn more fat. So it's a very efficient way to find out how you're working out.
Very, very cool.
It's fine. You don't.
John doesn't care.
Like working out. Look at him.
No. I'm not very good at it.
So you hate working out. You hate Batman. You hate...
come on. Quit begging on me.
Your shower curtain is crooked.
Your pick of the week is me.
Oh. The pick of the week is you?
I quit. I'm going to rage quit.
He's going to rage quit the show.
Oh.
Just check out.
A marching band come through the hallway with cymbals.
Man, if you miss any portion of the show, of course, you can go to our website, gfknetwork.com. You can catch it over there. Michael does a T4 show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. East here on the GFK Network. Also follow him on Twitter at Michael Manna. T4show.com is the website. Suncast is everywhere GFQ is available. You can follow him on Twitter at Suncast. And of course,
read all my negative tweets.
His negative tweets,
everything that I hate.
The Negative Zone, starring John. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zarian. And that's it, guys. We'll see you all next week on Tech News Weekly. Good night, everybody.